Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Optomed Live. I'm Tom Leahy here in the studio with Candace Suarez, my colleague, and we have a special guest with us today. You know that 1 in 5 women and 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted while in college. And we're not really sure that's even accurate because the Center for Public Integrity estimates that 95% of campus rapes go unreported.
Yeah.
Incredible. You know, we spend a lot of time talking about preparing students academically for college. We discuss how families can better prepare financially. But how do we prepare our young people to be on their own, to manage time faced with often changing, schedules, accomplish personal tasks that are needed to survive? How do we prepare them to deal with potential violence, in an environment that we all like to think is safe? Does it make sense to provide college-bound youth with defensive training, both mentally and physically, to survive potential assault? It's not nice to think about, but perhaps we should spend more time there. And today we're going to do that. And our guest, Mark Winn, he's the chief instructor for Kava Magna. Did I do that right?
Yep.
Nope. All right, Mark, you say it. Krav Maga.
There you go. Thanks, Candace.
Krav Maga. Okay. Self-defense. Well, anyway, I do know it's a self-defense system that was developed for the Israeli Defense Forces, right? And it combines other techniques from other fighting styles that come together to create this defensive system that Mark teaches. And he's certified in fitness, sports nutrition, personal training, kickboxing, and MMA conditioning. And he likes to teach his students the importance of diligence, decisiveness, self-awareness, which in a real world application could spell the difference between, going home safely or becoming a victim. And so, Mark, thank you for being here. I think this is an important topic to talk about. I think it's something that a lot of parents don't consider when they're preparing their young person to go off to college. So talk to us more about, I'm not going to even say it again because I'm going to laugh at me again. So just tell us more about the system, how it came about, how, your passion and what you can help families and young people with.
Sure. So Winning Warrior Krav Maga is the name of our training center. Krav Maga means contact combat. As you pointed out, it's the self-defense system of the Israeli Defense Forces and their special forces. And it's actually built on a theory. How can I create a maximum impact with a minimal risk to myself? And so what has happened is they've taken, like you pointed out, techniques from various systems of martial arts and combat and formulated them in a fashion that meet that theory. So if it doesn't meet that theory, we don't do it. That's very important because there's a difference between martial arts, fighting, and self-defense. If you had 3 concentric circles, they meet in the middle, but fighting is about winning. Martial arts, mind, body, spirit, the land and traditions of which it came. So if you're a Taekwondo stylist, you should be successful at this. If you're a Kung Fu stylist, you should be successful this way. If you're a karate stylist, you should be successful this way, and so on and so on. Self-defense is about going home. So there's self-defense aspects of fighting. There's self-defense aspects of martial arts. But from a self-defense standpoint, your goal is always to go home. If you think about an MMA fighter and they go in a self-defense situation, they might be thinking about one person when actually there are other people that will jump in when you end up on the ground. So it's a whole lot different than just fighting. And so when we train people, when you look at how the IDF was created after, when Israel became a nation in 48, they took people like Emil Lechtenfeld, who's kind of seen as the founder, that were field tested. Emmy's background was actually wrestling, boxing, and he was also a gymnast, believe it or not. And his father was a police officer, I believe a captain, and their training center was where he trained. But at the same time, you had the Hanaga, which was a group that also helped protect. So they were like what we call a militia that helped protect villages. So during World War II, Emmy and Hanaga were helping protecting villages and so forth. And then when Israel became a nation, they were referred to as a gym for different sections of the military. He ended up becoming the chief instructor for the gym, and that's how he formulated the system over time and built things in a fashion that allowed people to go home. Now myself personally, which is this also part of my Krav Maga philosophy, is 60 to 70% of the time you can go home safely just by increasing your situational awareness.
There you go.
But you still have to have an answer for that 30 to 40% of the time.
Right.
What I do is I teach my students, and when I've done things for college students, I teach OODA loop: observe, orient, decide, and act. That's been one of the best ways that I can formulate shortly to describe situational awareness. It was actually, that formulation is actually used in military operations. Air Force fighter pilot by the name of Colonel Boyd, John Boyd, formulated it. There's been papers written on it in war colleges and all types of stuff. But you observe any environment that you go in, see as much as you can see, right? And when I say see as much as you can see, a lot of times people think, I'm looking for the bad guy, looking for the bad guy. Well, you might see that person that you haven't seen in decades, or your best friend and you didn't notice. So observe as much as you can. Then orient yourself to people and things. By orienting yourself to people and things on a college campus, are you close to that blue phone? Are you close to a crowd of people? Are you close to a place that you could evade someone or put yourself between them? And then you have to decide what you can and cannot do. If you're not fast, you don't have the ability to run, you're going to have to come up with something else.
So let me jump in with a question.
Sure, absolutely.
While I hear you're talking about awareness and all of that, it seems to me that there's a fine line between that and becoming paranoid.
Yes, and that's why I opened up with the way I opened up, because a lot of times, especially I know myself personally, when I first started training karate, way back in the day, almost 30 years ago, and I'm learning stuff and I'm like, oh, what are they going to do? Can I handle this? Can I handle that? Like you said, you kind of get paranoid.
And we as parents, we don't want to scare you so that you keep your kids at home and not send them. I think that's why it's great that you're talking to us. It's just that common sense awareness, and you need to be able to protect yourself.
Or go to class and go back to the dorm and do nothing else while they're in school.
Right. Don't put yourself in a bubble. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you a good example of how I handled this myself for my daughter. My daughter went away to college. Mm-hmm. And I basically told her, I said, if you love me and you don't want to see me go to jail, handle your business. So when she would go out with her friends, they would always go out together.
Yeah.
If people want to leave and go off with I saw this cute guy. I want to. No, you're not. You're coming with us. Look
out for each other.
Look out for each other. If there were people drinking, she didn't really drink. So if there were people drinking of age, then she became an RA and had a number of people pour stuff. He said, I got to see you pour it out. But she would, there's been times where she actually took people to the hospital for alcohol poisoning and things of that nature.
Right.
So,
but that one simple thing, just not letting yourself be alone.
Yes.
Being together, and that simple thing is.
And don't let your friends be alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Don't let your friends be alone. Yeah, take care of each other. That's so simple, but yet how often does that not happen?
Mm-hmm.
As you guys already know, your influences on yourself and what your desires are, and the influence of other people kind of will sway you one way or the other. Mm-hmm. But it still has to be about your safety and about your major goal for being there in the first place.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long does this training? I mean, if a parent was wanting to provide this defensive training, and again, it's defensive. I want to underline that defensive. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about being aggressive. We're talking about a defensive posture and being prepared to protect yourself. How long does this training process take, or is it ongoing? Is it something they need to continue when they go to college, or can you do something in 6 weeks, or what does that look like?
So you do something ahead of time which would be best, right? Because you have because the whole thing is when you don't have an idea of what you're going to do, then you're reacting to the situation instead of responding to the situation. If you're having to react, you're thinking about what just happened to me, what can I do, how can I do it? If you're used to something coming at you, you respond. Anybody that's been at home in the kitchen working and all of a sudden you see something starting to boil, you don't have to scream for someone to help. You know to cut it down. Or if you see that someone is cooking with you, I like food. Someone's cooking with you, and you see that something is, whatever they're sautéing is starting to dry out. You know how to handle something like that, so you can intervene. So you're responding to what's going on. You're not reacting to what's going on. And so in a self-defense situation, you want to be able to respond.
It's creating that instinct, that muscle memory.
Yes, you're getting to learn how to respond. And so what we do in Krav Maga, there's a saying: if I teach you a technique, you'll have a technique. If I teach you a concept, you have 1,000 techniques. So when I have companies and organizations do the Krav Maga experience, I'm teaching them from concept, not technique, because you're not going to remember a technique when you do it correctly, but you may remember a concept that can allow you to go home.
Great. Okay. Again, I mean, so can you become proficient in protecting yourself in a very small period of time, or does
it's ongoing training? I have students that have been with me for several years, and then I have students that have been with me for 6 months. And there's another saying that the person that leaves should be able to feed the person that came in.
Yeah. Okay.
So every time that you're coming, you're gaining further concepts and understanding. Now you're speaking of, hey, will you be lethal in 6 weeks? Will you be able to do this and other? No.
To yourself, maybe.
But to yourself, right? You will have gained some experiences and some understanding that will assist you in surviving a threat or attack. I've had students that have been attacked at auto auctions. I've had students that have been attacked in a restaurant. I've seen students that have had a situation where someone was on drugs and they had a knife and they were trying to kill their spouse and they were able to defuse it. I've had situations from a youth standpoint that, and again, back to the situation awareness, saw something starting to pop off, right? And was able to operate in a fashion to what you call gray man, to not pull attention to themselves and get out of the situation where other people are still in it.
So do you teach that piece of it?
We teach every aspect of self-defense.
A parent just wanted their child to learn that piece of it because they don't have time to do the rest of it. That'd be possible.
That's possible. But it doesn't answer the question of that 30 to 40%.
Right.
Because you have to have a response if you can't get away, if you can't avoid, if you can't de-escalate.
Right.
Okay. So we can show them how to defensively stop someone from continuing, because when it works together.
It
can. Yes, it has to.
It has to. Yes.
You don't have a skill set, so when what you're trying to do fails, then you're stuck, and then you can be in a worse situation.
Okay. Great. Okay. Well, good stuff, Mark. Thank you very much. I think it gives us a lot, especially parents, to think about as they prepare their children to go off to college. How do folks get a hold of you if they want to engage?
Sure. You can look us up on Winning Warrior Krav Maga on Facebook, Winning Warrior Krav on Instagram. Our website is www.kravrva.com.
Great.
And you're welcome to reach out to us. We do trials. We do like a 4-week trial for $49. We do seminars. Next weekend, we're having a women's self-defense seminar. That's a fundraiser for domestic violence and prevention and healing. And that is, the tickets are on Eventbrite. They're $30 tickets, but all the proceeds go to SCAR, Second Chance of Renewing Self, so, to help further that message. But and my self-defense seminars started with SCARs, because what we would do in the fall before students would go off to college, we would do a self-defense seminar for a couple of hours. And that way they were prepared. And I still know some of those students today.
Right. Yeah. Well, great. Okay. And if you didn't catch all that contact information, you can get to Mark through Optimum Ed, because we know where he lives and where he works. So you can get, OptimumEdCenter.com, or you can call us 804-417-4807, or ask at OptimumEdCenter and we'll get you in touch with Mark. He is on our partners page as well. So with that, I'm going to let you all get back to your day and wish you all a great weekend. Mark, again, thanks very much. I appreciate it. And thank you for teaching me how to, I'm not even going to say it.
No, don't even try.
I'll take care.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.